Sarah. Welcome to the It is a Sarah podcast. Today it is December 9, 2024 and in this episode I want to share my handwerk perikelen, that's a Dutch word for crafty adventures, from this week with you. I'm coming to you from the Netherlands, so excuse my Dutchy English. I love to knit, I love to crochet and I love to talk, so that's the perfect combination for making this podcast. And I make my episodes in Dutch and in English, so be sure you pick the right one. Okay, hello. I have so many things to share with you. I skipped last week because I had a trip with my sister and we had a lovely trip. It was really refreshing and recharging and nice and cozy and fun. But I skipped my Monday episode, so there's a lot to tell. I have some finished objects, some new projects, and also a little bit of knit to quilt to chat. So let's start. Let's begin with what I'm wearing. I'm wearing an outfit I did wear many times, so I can keep it short. I'm wearing my cabled, braided cabled headband by Jessica Calway. My Felix cardigan, which I really love. And I also am wearing a handmade Hinterland dress. And it's making me very happy. But as I said, I already told a lot about this outfit, so let's dive into my finished objects. I have a favorite one. I made something I didn't have in my hand knitted wardrobe. I never missed it, and I can't understand why I didn't miss it, because this is what I want, this is what I need in my knitting life. I knitted myself a balaclava. I don't know if that's the way how you pronounce it in English. In Dutch we say balaclava. Balaclava. I think it's okay in English too. I make the mistake every time I am saying baklava, and baklava is a kind of cake. And it's actually quite weird that I'm saying that, because I never eat that cake and I never use that word. But balaclava is a little bit of a weird word for me. Let me start with saying this is a kind of a hoodie. I think hoodie matches me better. This is a hoodie, and in my youth, in the early 80s, I'm from 81, but also at the end of the 70s, the kids were wearing those kind of hats, and we call it a bivakmuts, and it was quite fitted and with the opening for your face, and it was also around your neck with a collar, and kids were wearing those, and I can't remember, I had one too, but it was really from that time. And since a few years they are they are appearing back, I guess. And when I showed the balaclava to my daughter, she said, "Oh, that's really cool. That's really fashion right now." And I thought, okay, this is a pattern from Kutovakika, the Grandmacore hood, and I bought it last year. Last year was actually the year I discovered Veronica Lindberg, also known as Kutovakika, and she makes YouTube episodes too. She's a very popular knitwear designer from Finland. She makes YouTube episodes too, and I discovered her last year, and I remember she was releasing this pattern and I really loved the idea, so I bought the pattern, but I never made it, and it was also not high on my wish list for knitting. It was more something I thought it would be fun for the girls. And after the Knit to Pearl to festival, I really needed a new project on my needles, which had the perfect balance between challenge and relaxing. I had a lot of other projects on my needles, but they were all very easy. Preparing the Knit to Pearl to festival was really time consuming, and also it took a lot of my energy, so I didn't have the knitting time, and also not the brain space for complicated projects on my needles. So there were all easy peasy projects on my needles that I could just knit or crochet away. And after the festival I was really tired, I was exhausted, but also kind of overwhelmed, and I needed something to distract my brain. I don't know if you recognize that when you are really overwhelmed by something, it takes your attention all the time. You are thinking of it all the time, and sometimes it's good to take a little bit of distance. So I needed a project which asked for a little bit of my focus, so my brain could rest from all the nittu-pultu happening. So I found this one in my Revelry library, and I love the idea of a small project. And also because it's lace, I knew it would ask for a little bit of focus. I never made this kind of, do you call it a garment? No, it's an accessory. I never made this kind of accessory, but I really love the construction. You knit back and forth this part at first, and then you pick up stitches and you go, you knit back and forth for most of the time, and in the end, at the end, you knit in the round, the ribbing. And I really loved knitting it. It was such a recharging knitting project on my needles. I really loved it. It was not really hard. The lace pattern is very repetitive, and of course you have to pay attention, but yeah, it's not hard to do. I must confess, I have my doubts about the lace choice for this kind of accessory, a warm head, because with all the holes, the wind is blowing just through the fabric. But where I live, in the Netherlands, we never have really cold weather. I never wear a hat. I have my hair over my ears, and also I'm wearing headbands all the time. They cover my ears also. And I don't like wearing hats. They look silly on me, and because my curls don't like the hat, because when I put the hat off, my curls are all not feeling great, and when my hair is not feeling great, I'm not feeling great either. So I don't like hats, but every now and then, every winter, there are a few cold days when I want a hat on my head, but I don't have one. And of course we have enough hats, also hand knitted, because I love knitting them in our stash, and I could pick one, but I don't feel comfortable wearing this. So I thought this might be a perfect solution for me, and the lace doesn't bother me because it's not so cold that I need a very thick fabric to protect me from the wind. Yeah, so I started knitting it, and the pattern is written for a DK weight merino combined with a silk mohair. I'm not a very mohair-y knitter. I don't really love it, I guess. Maybe it will come, maybe not. I'm knitting with mohair right now. I will talk about it later in this episode. But I chose for some yarn out of my stash. It is a non-superwash Shetland wool. I have it in my stash for quite some years right now. I bought it when we were on holiday in a Dutch yarn shop, and it is discontinued in that shop right now. But it's a fingering weight yarn, and I did start knitting my anchor shawl with it, but I wasn't happy with how it looked, and so I frogged that one and cast it on with new yarn, but it was still in my stash. I love the color. It is brown. I don't know if the color... burnt umber it's called. Yeah, and I had, I think, five 50-gram balls in my stash. So I decided to use that for the Grandmacore hood, and I didn't swatch, but because I just started knitting this part and I used it as my swatch, and my gauge was perfectly. I did go down a little bit needle size wise. I think Veronica suggests 4mm needles, and I knitted it on 3.25 because I'm a very relaxed knitter. And the gauge was perfect, but the fabric, I wanted to say stof, that's a Dutch word, stof. The fabric felt a bit sturdy, a bit stiff. So I was a little bit worried, because I thought, okay, when you are knitting with merino combined with mohair, it will be a very drapey fabric. And this was not drapey when I was knitting it. But I also knew that blocking would influence the fabric, so I just decided to knit. Yeah, okay. And it worked out pretty fine, because after blocking, It is still not as drapey as merino with mohair, of course, but it's okay. It's a very lovely fabric right now. Yeah, so I really enjoyed knitting it. I added a few rounds on the twisted rib. I already had had bind it off because with the extra stretchy bind off, but it was looking a little bit too short. So I undid the bind off. Do you say it like that? And I added 5 rounds, 15 rounds instead of 10, and then did the extra stretchy bind off, and that was perfect. Extra stretchy is very important because you want to put it over your head. Oh, my camera's getting dark. I have really no idea how it works. I was making a video last week and I could adjust all the settings, but they are disappeared right now, and it's really dark, I guess, because it's a dark December day, but I have no idea if I can... No, I don't think so. I don't know the settings yet. I hope it doesn't bother you. It is dark anyway, so yeah, I can't change that, but last week I could make it a little bit more lighter and brighter, but I can't see that function right now on my screen, so I didn't change anything. I don't know what's happened. Yeah, just talk about the knitting. The only thing I did, you knit the lace part and then you have to pick up stitches at the side. And you knit some stockinette. I was a little bit afraid it would be too tight. I knitted it with 3mm needles, but it was perfect. And normally, because a knit stitch is, it's not a square shape. A knit stitch is higher than wider, than the how do you say it? Length and wide, I guess. You know what I mean. When you look at every knitting chart, you can see that. So normally when you pick up stitches, for example for a button band, you skip a stitch every now and then, because otherwise you have too many stitches and the fabric of the button band will get flowy. So I was a little bit worried it would happen here. Veronica tells you to pick up every stitch. And also, I didn't want the opening for my face too tight, so I thought just try it, and it looks very good. It isn't flowy at all, so that's perfect. The only thing I did is I cast it off with an I-cord bind off, because I was a little bit worried. You have to do an extra stretchy bind off and then fold a double and sew it together. And I was a little bit afraid it would look messy, and because I will wear it most of the time, not over my head but in my neck, it will be quite often visible. I don't know if it was really necessary, because the extra stretchy bind off is not looking very messy at this part, but we shall see. But I am really happy. You have to take it over your head. This is all I need this winter. I really used to wear hoodies. I love to wear hoodies, but since I knit, I don't do that because I never knit hooded sweaters. I could do that, but I never do. But this is really perfect. As you can see, the lace is the wind can blow through, but for me it's nice. When you are hiking and you don't want to be social, you can hide. It's really nice. You can also pull the strands, and then you are really not a social person. But also when it's very cold or when it's raining, you can hide. But I must confess, okay, do you see my hair doesn't mind this, because it's loose around your head. Your curls, of course they get flat because of the way of the wool, but they don't really bother, because yeah, it's okay. But wearing this in my neck is really what I love. I have a hoodie in my neck, and yeah, this is really, I needed this in my life. I never missed it, but I needed this. And I don't have a shawl here in my knitting office, but you can wrap a shawl around and then pull your hoodie back, and then you have the perfect layer. I did film it before I went walking this morning, so I will add it at the end of the video. And you have the perfect warm layer in your neck. So even if you don't wear it over your head, it gives a very nice warm and cozy feeling around your neck. And you can even cover your ears if you want to, without being all covered in wool. Look at this. You can pull it this way. It's really, it's making me so happy. I'm really happy. I did wear it for the first time this morning and it was perfect. It's not super cold here, but it's just this extra fabric, and because I knitted it with very rustic warm wool, it's not itchy to me, but I'm not very sensitive for itch, I guess. But it's, I held the yarn double. I forgot to say that, I guess. But it gives me the really nice, cozy, warm feeling. And I'm really happy. Yeah, perfect. I think this pattern is really easy to use. The construction is really easy, but you could use every stitch pattern you want. So if you want one, you could make it in stockinette, I guess, or in garter stitch. If you want a more, how do you say it? A more steady fabric? No, that's not the word, but you know what I mean, without the holes, when you do live in a cold place. But of course, this is looking very nice and classic and, yeah, I don't know, feminine. I don't know. It's really, yeah. It's really making me happy. So I am absolutely happy with this finished object, and I will definitely wear this all every day when I'm going outside. Yeah. Grandmacore hood by Kutovakika. Absolutely recommend the pattern. It's very clear, well written, and it's not a challenging pattern. Of course, the lace asks for a little bit of your focus. But it's not a hard lace pattern. It's very repetitive and very easy to follow. So yeah, absolutely a recommended pattern. I have another finished object, and that's quite another color combination. Look at this one. I already showed it in the podcast. My granny stripe blanket, my granny stripe baby blanket. It's so bright and colorful. I was weaving in yarn ends at the couch, and one of the girls was seeing, looking what I was doing, and she said, "What is that on your lap? That's so bright, that are not your colors." And I told her that I love those colors too. I don't love wearing them. When I only was allowed to knit and crochet with brown and neutral yarns, I wouldn't be happy either. I really love the color too. It's really nice and fun working with it. So I already told a few episodes ago, I guess, that this is the perfect way. Making baby blankets is the perfect way to fulfill your need of color and blanket making. Making blankets is something I really love, as well knitting as crochet. But we have quite some blankets here at home, and also starting a blanket is very attractive, but then you have that big project on your needles. Finishing a blanket can be challenging. And I realized I have quite some, there's a fold in between, I see. I did block it, but now it's folded. I have quite some leftovers, cotton and woolly leftovers in my stash, and they are perfect for making baby blankets. And also a baby blanket is perfect for your need, your personal need for colors of specific stitch patterns, or just a nice project which is hard jumping. It's really, oh, there are some birds on the roof. It's really dark right now. I can't change it. I'm sorry. I hope it doesn't bother you. So yeah, really happy with this one. I don't have a lot of babies in my life right now, so I didn't really make it specific for a specific baby, but it is a little bit of my dream to make a big pile of baby blankets. And when there is a baby in my life, I can pick one of the blankets to give as a present, and I can check which blanket suits the mommy and daddy or the baby itself. That would be lovely. But also some people told me that there are different charity organizations who ask for handmade blankets for babies in hospitals or other occasions. And I love that idea too. So I already checked our local hospital, but I couldn't really find something. And then I realized before I will give something away, I want to make a pile of baby blankets, and I can decide if I want to give them personal to people in my life, or if I want to donate blankets, or both. But let me first start with making a pile of baby blankets. So that will take some years, I guess, but I can decide later. So this is the first one, and I really love it. It are granny stripes. I didn't check the measurements yet. I am a little bit behind with my Ravelry administration, and I am not quite sure if I will make it before my episode is online, will be online. So maybe it's all updated and you can check it down below, but maybe if I don't have the time today, I will do that tomorrow, so you have to wait for it. But the measurements, yeah, I don't know. It seems as the perfect blanket for in a little baby bed or in a pram, or yeah, just nice and cozy and small. I know I cast it on 90 stitches, maybe 92. Yeah, and it's perfect. And as you can see, I ran out of colors. So I decided to do the upper part only with beige. And I changed the stitch pattern, and I must say it's a lovely effect. So you can fold it double, and I really love it. The border, I had not really a plan for the border, and I used the linen stitch. So that means I crocheted one, oh, I don't know the terms. One double crochet, I guess, and one chain. Always US and UK terms. Hustling to so I don't know, it's always easy to difficult to talk about crochet in my English episodes. In Dutch I can just use the Dutch names, but yeah, I think you call it the linen stitch, and it gives a little bit of a sturdy border. Yeah, I really love how all the colors are catched in the fluor pink, and it's really bright and nice. I did block the blanket because especially at those sides the border is quite tight, and I was a little bit worried there was a lot of more stretch in this part, in this stitch pattern, than in the border, and I didn't know if it would work out the way I wanted, so I did block it. My woolly projects, I always block them with some Eucalan, that's the wool wash I use. But this is 100% cotton, so I didn't want to add some wool, some wash detergent. Is that the word? I struggled with that before, I guess. Things you put you in Dutch we call it wasmiddel. Washy thing. No, that's not correct, but you know what I mean. The stuff that cleans your laundry. But I didn't want to do that in the baby blanket, so I just put it in warm water, and then I pinned the corners at the blocking mat, and it worked out pretty nice and fine. So I am really happy, and I'm really looking forward to add another start another baby blanket. But I did start another blanket, but that one's my advent blanket, and it will be for myself. So no baby blanket yet. No plans for it either. It will come in the next year, I guess. But yeah, really hard jumping to do. Just play with the colors, and the idea that one day there will be a tiny baby under this blanket is also really making me happy. It must be a summer baby because it is cotton. Okay, another finished project. Yeah, I finished those quite a while ago, and I think I already told about it in the podcast too. These are my friendship socks, my BFF socks, and these are mine. The other pair is on the feet of my BFF, so it was actually quite fun. My best friend, I have knitted her a pair of socks years ago, and she always asked for another pair. And I always told her I knitted socks for her girls and for her husband. And And I never felt the need to knit an extra pair for her. Even if I knew she wanted it really bad. but yeah, it's quite time consuming. There are a lot of people I want to knit for, so I never did. And last year on in the Netherlands we called it Old Year's Day. In Dutch we say Oudjaarsdag. 31 of December. We celebrated together New Year's. Okay, camera too hot, so we needed a break. I didn't need a break, my camera needed a break. On New Year's Eve I received 2 yarn balls of my friend. One in this colorway. It were both Zauberball Crazy sock yarns. Sterke 6, so that's a little bit of a light sport weight sock yarn, a little bit thicker than the fingering weight. And it's from Shoppel. And the Zauberballen are really fun to knit sock with because the color changes are really subtle and nice and fun. My colorway was called Late Autumn, and C did choose a very much brighter colorway which was called Parrot, based on the parrot colors. Yeah, it was very, very lovely and very generous of them. And she suggested we could knit socks together. And she was not a knitter. She could knit, but she was not an active knitter. And she never knitted socks. So she suggested that I would knit all the challenging parts of a sock. The toes and the heels and the cuffs. And she would knit just straight away the foot and the leg. And it was really fun. And then she said, we can do that for both pairs of socks, so for your socks and for my socks. And I was a little bit surprised about that idea, but it was so much fun. It's so much fun to knit socks together with your friend, because I knitted my parts and then I gave it back to her and then we changed, and our friendship, my love for my friend, is catched in these socks, and that's really, really nice and fun. And of course we finished her socks first, because I have a lot of hand knitted socks and she only had 1 pair, and she really loves to wear them. And then we finished mine, and I really wanted to have very long legs, so they are knee socks high. I can wear them as knee socks, so that's really warm. I will wear them as slouchy socks most of the time, but the fact that I can wear them as high knee socks is really nice and fun, and I really love it when I pull them up because the color changes are so nice. I did add an increase because I wanted the fit around my foot quite narrow, and my leg, to put it over my the under part of my leg, I really need some increase, and I don't know if you can see it. I put my finger under it. I did one yarn over, and the next row I added 2 yarn over, so 3 stitches extra, and that was enough. My friend did knit much more tighter at the first sock than at the second one, so she even ripped out the whole leg and re-knitted it, because that was better for the fit. And yeah, it's really lovely, really fun. If you visited the Knit to Pulto festival, my friend was presentating the whole day. So she was wearing the socks by then, so it's fun. And she really fell into the knitting rabbit hole. We all know how nice and fun it is there. She already knitted a cardigan, a petite knit pattern. She already finished the cardigan. And after the Knit to Pulto festival, she told me, that lady from Norway was wearing a beautiful cardigan. Can I knit that too? And she meant Inga from Knitting Traditions. And Inga was wearing a Mary Wollins design. A very very beautiful all over colorwork hand knitted cardigan. And I thought, yeah, if you really want it, you can do it. So she already ordered the yarn, and I think she started, but I didn't she didn't tell me, but I think she already started because she couldn't wait. So that was really fun that she really is a knitter now too. So knitting socks together with a friend, although it doesn't matter if your friend can knit or not, is really a connecting thing to do. Your friendship catched into socks. Every time I wear this socks or I see this socks, I'm thinking of her, and it really makes my heart jump. So that's a nice thing. Something else which is hard jumping are my new sock blockers. They were a gift from a Dutch knitter, and her name is Chiara, and you can find her as Willow Vine Knits on Instagram and also on Etsy, where she sells those sock blockers. And she makes them together with her husband with a 3-dimensional printer. They are from plastic, and I did met Chiara on the knit night in our local yarn shop, La Boutique Peridot, in the city center of Breda, where I live. And she was making those, and I have the most beautiful sock blockers. So I was not really looking for new sock blockers, but my sock blockers are also handmade, and they are from wood. They are made by a Dutch maker, and her name is Brechtje, and her company is called Studio Spintel, and those are handmade, and I have them for a few years right now, and I really love the quality, and I really love the look. So I'm really happy with those. But I was knitting socks for my little niece, and Chiara also sells the sock blockers in all the sizes. Although this size was new, so I ordered child size sock blockers, of course in brown, because I love brown. It is size 27, can you see it? Tiny socks for my girl, and I really love them. And I also bought a pair of baby socks. I showed them a few weeks ago. She has them in all the colors of the rainbow, and I of course love the neutral colors. But then she told me she wanted to give me a pair of sock blockers, and I could choose one from her Etsy shop. And I was really doubting, what shall I choose? Because I want to add more child sizes to my sock blocker collection, but the only child at the moment I am knitting socks for is my little niece, and her feet don't grow so fast. And then I checked the measurements because she has all the sizes, and I realized that this size M, shoe size 38 to 41, was in between the sizes. My sock blocker, this is the smallest size, and this is the biggest size, and I don't know exactly the measurements, but this one was right in between those sizes, and I have size 38 myself, so I thought, okay, I can use an extra pair of sock blockers for that size. And of course you don't really, sock blockers are a luxury, I guess. You don't really need them, because when you put a sock on your foot, it's also okay. But I really love the look of them on sock blockers. I think socks are looking so much nicer. This is a sock, and it is a little bit of pre-shaped because of the sock blocker, so it's even not looking so bad right now. It dried on the sock blocker, but with a sock blocker in it, it's really looking better than without. And I really love to block my socks, especially when I'm making them as a gift, but also to make pictures of them or just hang them. So I thought, okay, I don't really have paintings on my wall. I have hand knitted socks on my wall, so that's okay. You are allowed to have more sock blockers than one pair. They also came with a little hook. It is in my basket, so you can hang them, and I have 2 hooks, so you can hang both of them, so really nice. So lovely pair of socks, lovely pair of sock blockers. I will link the Instagram account and of course the Etsy shop of Chiara down below in the show notes if you are interested. The wooden ones are more sustainable, I guess. This is plastic. I must confess, the open shape is perfect for drying. The socks are drying better on this sock blockers than on this one. This is, of course it's plastic, so the price and the quality are, you can't compare them together. I am very happy I have both, and I wouldn't want to choose, so it's perfect for me. And I am very spoiled with that lovely generous gift, so thank you, Chiara. I'm a little bit afraid I will drop a woolly thing into my candle, so I don't know if you can see my nerves. It would be quite dramatic when there will be a big fire behind me when I'm just talking about my knitting. Yeah, but we are safe. Okay, so those were all my finished objects. I really have a lot more knitting time than I had the past months. So I'm really going back to my more slow life, and yeah, that's really nice. So I casted on a new project. But before I will tell you about that, I want to give this one a little bit of attention. Not much, because I will just let it hang on my nail. This is my Syli cardigan, and I am knitting on it. It's a very lovely yarn. It was gifted to me, and it's very special. It's a very rustic yarn, and this cardigan will be a cardigan in which I want to live this winter. I will make it into quite a long cardigan, not super long, quite long, a little bit the length of my dresses. And I'm making the second sleeve right now. I'm knitting at the second sleeve, and I must confess it's quite a boring knit work because nothing's happening, just plain stockinette in the round, and for the body back and forth. I decided to finish the sleeves first, and then I will finish the body so I can see what the perfect length is. And most of the time it's easier to see when the sleeves are already done, so you can check how the fit will be of the complete garment. But I'm quite close to finishing, and I try to work on it every day for a little bit. Because it's boring, I have nicer and more challenging knits on my needles right now, but I give it attention, and it's also easy to pick up and knit every now and then. Yeah. I also casted on a new blanket. It is the Advent time. I am really enjoying this time of the year. I am not a very festive person. It's not that I really love the Christmas time, the holiday season, but I also think it can be quite overwhelming. But I think I found my way. For example, Christmas decoration can be quite overwhelming. I love it and I hate it at the same time. I love to make the house cozy, but I also want to have it away and just have things normal. And yeah, I realized that for me it works best to save the festivity, all the ornaments and the festivity part just for Christmas, because then it is then the celebration is and the cozy time is. But not now. We have a Christmas tree. We placed it yesterday in the living room. And I love the smell of the tree and the look of the tree. And we will put lights in it. And I dried the little orange slices in the oven. It also smelled delicious. And I will hang them into the tree. And then the day before Christmas, Christmas Eve, we will decorate the tree, and it can be beautiful and bright and busy and whatever. But now we just enjoy the quiet dark time, sitting and knitting next to a candle, not too much noise, not too much, it's really turning inside in this time of the year. It's really suiting me better than all the hysterical busy things. And there's nothing wrong with all the hysterical busy things. I was at a knitting friend last week, and her house it couldn't be more Christmassy, I guess. And I loved it, but not in my house. So it is perfect. You have to do what makes you happy, and it doesn't matter what makes you happy as long as it makes you happy. So, and I always was a bit confused because I thought Christmas decoration was making me happy, and it did, but not for 4 weeks. Maybe for 1 week, and then yeah, I can handle 1 week, so I do that right now. But I do love the Advent time, and as I said, sitting and knitting next to a candle, a little bit of quiet and dark time. Yeah, it's perfect. And I casted on a new Advent project. I have 2 Advent calendars, and I really love them. They are both from Dutch dyers. The first one is from Manon from Witzomer. It is her first Advent calendar. She started dyeing yarn this year, and I think she's very talented, and I really love her dyeing. I think it's amazing how people can catch the colors into yarn. It's really not one of my talents, but I really love it when other people do that. And I really love her advent calendar. And I have another one from a Dutch dyer. Her name is Alexandra from Het Wolbeest. And she's a very experienced dyer, and I really love her work too. And I have, yeah, that beautiful, she dyes in a fade. I don't know if Manon is also dyeing in a fade. I'm not quite sure, but it's absolutely wonderful. But I decided that I want to save my advent calendars until they are complete. I am labeling, I'm enjoying the unpacking every morning, and then I'm labeling them so I know what the order was in which they came. And I don't know if I will make something in that order or if I will do it random. I don't know, but I can decide afterwards. And I think I will make a sweater and a cardigan of it separate, so I will not mix them, but I'm not quite sure. All the ideas, and there's no hurry. I'm just enjoying the unpacking and the beautiful skeins, and every morning I put them all on my table in the right order before I pick the next one, and then I can enjoy all the mini skeins, and I feel very, very rich. But I did want to cast on a special advent project too. So I did do that. I cast it on a blanket. It was a pattern, a new pattern from one of my Dutch knitting friends. Her name is Mirjam, from Mirjam Molenbeek, and the pattern is called the Past, Present and Future Blanket. It is in English, the pattern, so you can make it as an English speaker too. And it is written for an advent. It's not really, it's a kind of scrappy blanket, and you can knit the blanket with 24 mini skeins of 20 grams if I'm correct. I didn't check because I don't do it, but I decided I have a very nice collection of all the mini skeins which were gifted to me on several occasions by all the lovely people, and since a few years. And I really love the idea of making a blanket of it for myself. Especially after the Knit to Purl to festival, I really needed a nice and relaxing project. So because the festival was all about connecting, I thought it would be perfect to work with all those yarns. I received some of them during Knit to Purl too, but all other occasions too. And this is the blankets. Oh, I really love it! It's a ripple, a garter stitch ripple pattern. I did choose only the colors which I really love. I also received quite some brighter mini skeins, and I love them too. Look at the blanket I have there. I love them too. I'm not lying. But most of my scrappy projects, I combined the brighter colors and the more muted colors. But I decided I had too much mini skeins for one blanket, I guess. So I decided for this one I wanted to pick the colors I really love, which are heart jumping to me, and the brighter colors I want to combine in one project. And I have some ideas for them. I don't know, I didn't decide. I love them too, and especially because they were gifted to me by lovely people, so I don't want to give them away. I want to keep them myself, but I will make something different of it. But this one is really making me happy. I must confess I did struggle with the I-cord cast on. I-cord cast on is not my favorite thing to do, and it was on a Friday night. I went on it for a trip with my sister, and I wanted to have this blanket on the needles before we went because I wanted to chat. And with a dark brown on Friday night, the I-cord and I were not the best friends, but I did manage. Mirjam designed the blanket as a lap blanket, but you can quite easily add or remove a certain amount of stitches to make the blanket wider or smaller. You can also, it is written for fingering weight yarn, but you can also make it with DK weight yarn or any weight yarns. I wasn't sure if I was doubting if I wanted to make my blanket a little bit more wide than hers. So maybe I wanted to add some stitches, but then I was knitting the I-cord. I did knit the I-cord on DPNs. it goes much more easier than on your circular needles. I didn't have the same size, so I knit the blanket on 2.75 millimeter needles, and the I-cord I did on 3 millimeter. But then you can just switch them, you can just transfer them to the front of your needle. It's much more easy. So if you have the DPNs in a size, the right size or close to the right size, I really recommend using those. And I thought, okay, let's make it the same size. And then I accidentally ended with 15 stitches extra. And that was perfect for a little bit extra, because 15 was the stitch amount you have to add or remove when you want to change the width. But when I picked up stitches for the I-cord bind off, my 15 stitches were disappeared. So I really was struggling and a little bit clumsy. But I have the same size as she has now. And I'm very happy, because it will be a lap blanket. And because of the fingering weight, it's not a heavy blanket. So you can fold it down quite easily. And it's the perfect size to bring with you when you are going somewhere you need a little blanket, or when we go with a camper van. Just a blanket you can throw around your shoulders or put on your lap without being very big. I also made quite some DK weight, bigger blankets, and they are all big and yeah, not easy to put in your bag or something. And this one is really, yeah, a lighter weight, so perfect. I did one modification. You have to do some increases with the knit front back stitch, and I replaced the knit front backs for yarn overs because I love the look of it, and I really have the great need for putting Sarah sauce over all the things. And now it is looking a bit more stripy. The vertical columns are a little bit more visible. I love that, so I'm really happy with that. There are also decreases, and I have to be aware that I snuck my yarn a little bit to provide from holes there, and I forget it every now and then. So then there are also some holes there, but I think when you zoom out, it's looking very good and nice and neat. And it's really, really a satisfying knit. It's not hard. The picking up stitches from the I-cord was a challenge for me because I'm not very patient. But I love the look. So of course you don't have to do it, but I really love the look of the I-cord cast on. And also you are making an I-cord at the side, so you don't have to do anything afterwards, and I really love it. Mirjam just knit away all her minis, and she ties them together with a magic knot. I lost my trust in the magic knot, and the trust didn't come back yet, so I wasn't sure what to do. But I decided to also knit my mini skeins away, and yeah, just add a new color in the middle of the row. I did make magic knots, but I didn't cut the tails. I just let them hang there, and I think I will weave them in. I think my trust will not be back before I finish the blankets. I could cut them. I did the right way of magic knotting, but I think I will just weave them in. Yeah, so ooh, I love it! Yes, I really love it. Perfect Advent time knitting. So I don't knit a mini skein every day. This is my morning knitting work at this moment, so I'm really enjoying, again, with a candle, a cup of coffee, unpacking my Advents and knitting maybe mainly more than 2 rows. Just knitting a few rows at the blankets, and sometimes I pick it up. It's very addictive, so I pick it up other times of the day. And it don't have to be finished on the 24th of December. It's just a nice and fun, relaxing project to have on your needles. I have another cast on, which is also very addictive, but a little bit more challenging. It is living in this adorable basket. This is a really lovely basket. I have a bigger one too, but one of the handles did break, so I don't think I can fix it. So I have to buy a new one, because I always do my groceries with that basket and I really love it. But this is a tiny one, and my newest project is living into this basket. I casted on the Bubblelicious sweater, And the Bubblelicious sweater is a project, a pattern. I don't have a color printer, but it is also from Kutovakika. And this sweater was very, very high on the wish list of my youngest girl. And she really wanted to make her this sweater. So I promised it her, but when I was preparing the Knit to Purl to festival, I absolutely had no time and even less brain space for such a project. And I couldn't start with it immediately after the festival, so I really need to calm down and to recharge and relax. But last week it was time. Thursday, I guess I started. So or maybe Friday, I don't know. I am using, I have to be aware I'm not messing it up. Oh, there is a reason why I put it in this basket. Oh, and I think I'm messing it up right now. Yes. Okay, I can't do two things at the same time. Let me see. You are knitting with 3 different strands of yarn. And to provide them for getting tangled, I really love to put them in this basket because, now you can see it. Oh no, you can't. Because of this. Can you see it? The strands are all coming, one strand is coming from there, one strand is through the handle and the other strand is through the side. So they won't get tangled into the basket. But the Bubblelicious sweater. Of course it is a paid for pattern, so I can't really show you. I just want to give you a quick look on the charts, and I am very curious if you have the same panic feeling I had when I saw them. Okay, this is one chart. Where are the other ones? There are a lot of charts. I just cut them all out. This is the other chart. This is the chart key, and this is another chart. When I saw those charts, I thought, oh no, how will I ever gonna knit this sweater? It looks so complicated. And I did knit at the beginning of 2024 the Arctic Light sweater, another pattern by Kutovakika, also for my girl. And I learned from that pattern that it looks very complicated. And it really asks for your focus and attention in the beginning. But at the end I could knit it just by hand. And it was a very worthy experience. Because, yeah, I can get very overwhelmed by such a pattern. When I'm looking through such a pattern, I really feel a kind of panic. And a very strong thought that it's way too complicated for me. But when you just zoom in to the beginning, there's only the sentence, cast on, I don't know how many, but cast on a certain amount of stitches. And I understand that, and just go to every next step by step, and it all comes together. And it isn't so hard as it looks. It asks for attention, certainly in the beginning, because there's a lot happening. Let me show you. Look at this. There's a lot happening, and in the beginning I had to search for every special thing, but now I think I knitted a little bit more than 20 rows, and now I can do a lot by head. Of course, I know it still asks for administration. I'm sitting on the couch or at the table, and I have all my papers around me, and my pen, and my yarn, and my knitting, and I can't move. And after every row I have to check, I have to put crosses because I have to get track, because otherwise I will go crazy. But it works out pretty good. So it's really, it looks very complicated, but it is actually not. The sweater is called Bubblelicious, and I know a lot of people are struggling with bubbles. And I can imagine, because the bubbles, they slow down your knitting rhythm. When you are knitting, you have a certain rhythm, and the bubbles and also the other things, they are holding you up. But I must confess, that way of slowing down is really resonating with me at the moment. I really needed to slow down, so this is the perfect pattern. My daughter, she really wanted the bubbles in the Bubblelicious sweater, so I don't mind knitting them. They are actually I don't know if I would add them to one of my garments, but they are actually quite fun, especially those. Those are with 4 together. Those are having a cozy time. Look at those. Yeah, so it's really nice and fun. And as I said, it's the perfect pattern to slow down. My girl, she really hopes she can wear the sweater with Christmas. I told her I will do my best, but I don't think I will ever make it. And she saw the chart too, and she absolutely understands. And also I can't work all the time on this one, because I really have to keep my administration on track, because otherwise I will completely be confused. So it's not a pick up and knit every moment in between. And also when I'm very tired, it's also not the best knit, but I'm really enjoying it. It's really, really lovely. And the perfect color for this time of the year. I really love it when the color of my knitting matches the special times of the year, and it's not always very important, but with the Christmas time I really love the green. So it's a perfect knitting project for now, and I'm really enjoying it. I did change my mohair. It is knitted with Knitting for Olive merino, 2 strands of fingering weight merino and 1 strand of mohair. And I had a lighter mohair in the beginning, but now they are all of the same colorway, and that's looking much better. It's feeling very good, and I must confess the gauge, it feels a little bit on the tight side, but I think I have the right gauge, and I went down 1 needle size. I didn't swatch. I did swatch without the mohair, and then I had the right gauge, and now I added mohair, and I think it's okay. So knitting on the edge. Okay, but really, really fun and really nice, so I'm really having a good time. Okay, those were all my knits. I have 2 other things I want to share, because it is a few weeks after the Knit to Purl To festival I organized at the end of November. I must confess I really needed to unwind and to recharge. I was exhausted. The day was really good. It was really a special day. My main goal was connecting, to connect all the people feel connected together, and a lot of yarn events in the Netherlands are focused on selling yarn, buying yarn, and that's also a good thing, I guess, but I wanted to create an event which was focused on connecting, and I really felt that was happening that day. So that was really heart jumping for me. I saw all the people connecting together, having a good time, so I was a happy person. But also when you are organizing an event yourself, you are focused on all the things that could be better, and I really felt in the beginning that, yeah, of course I was happy because there was so much connecting, but I also felt my Miss Perfect was really involved in the process, and now she has said all the things, so she's okay right now. But I saw a lot of people talking about Knit to Purl To in their videos, but I haven't watched them yet because it was just not the right time. I also spent so much time at Knit to Purl To that I was completely done with it, so I really need some Knit to Purl To free time. But I was really happy, so many people were having a good time, so I will watch the videos later. Yeah, but this weekend I posted a link on Instagram with the pictures, the photos we did made, and also a video, and I will add the video at the end of this video, at the end of the episode, so you can watch it if you don't have Instagram and you love to watch it, so you can see a little bit how it was. Of course, it's only a small part of the day, but it's looking very nice. And also the pictures, I will add the link to the pictures down below, so if you are interested you can watch them. Yeah, so that was really fun. I have 2 things, 2 Knit to Purl To things. I received a lot of gifts, and I already mentioned it, I guess in my previous episode. I always feel a little bit awkward by receiving all the gifts. I understand why people want to give gifts, but I don't think I really want them. I am happy with the gifts, but I always feel a little bit uncomfortable with showing all the gifts, because it's not about the gifts. It was about the people, and you know what I mean, I guess. But it doesn't mean I'm not happy with the gifts. I'm very happy with them. I have them collected in a big basket and I'm enjoying it every now and then. I've eaten all the chocolate. All the chocolate gifts are gone. They are in my belly now, safe and warm. But I have today 2 gifts I want to show. Let me start with this one. It is a bit of a wonky pile. This is a very big knitted garland, and my knitting friend Mirjam Molenbeek, who runs an online knitting school, she made this together with all the knitters at the festival. They were sitting in a kind of a living room, knitting all together and making this as a present for me in all the beautiful colors. It's a very big garland. This one is not attached yet, so I can show it. Garter stitch garlands, and yeah, it was really lovely that they made it all together for me. I didn't hang them in the house. My birthday was 1 week before Knit to Purl To, so we always hang garlands when someone's birthday is, and I didn't hang them just because. But we will have a birthday in the family quite soon, in the next month, so we will hang them down in the living room. And the feeling and the look of all the people knitting together is really catched into this big garland, and I think that was meant to be. That was the meaning of this present, a memory of that connection which was happening there. So it's really heart jumping, and I'm really happy with all this knitted love. So thank you for that. And another present. Oh, I did pick all the things for my Dutch episode. Let me put them back. Another very lovely present was made by a Dutch crocheter. She made a beautiful Knit to Purl To project bag in the same colorway as my Knit to Purl To socks. So that's really special. And this is crocheted, and it's really lovely and beautiful. And in the crochet bag, and that's why I want to mention it today, see, her name is Natalie, and she's from Studio Belovely, and she organizes crochet retreats. And not only for Dutch people, but also it is in English and also in German is it under it. But she organized crochet retreats in Greece on a lovely island with a lot of rest and beautiful nature, lovely dinner, lovely food and crochet workshops. And you can relax and you can spend time on the beach and do what you want. So I thought it might be interesting for you too. So I will put the link to her website down below. It is in English, so you can, yeah, it is interesting for you too. And it is all about connection too. So that's why I thought it deserves a place in my podcast, because I love when people can be connected. Yeah, so Studio Belovely on a nice Greece island. If you are looking for a good week off, I don't know if it's a week, maybe 5 days or something, then maybe it's something for you. And also she put a little crochet journal in it, which she designed. It's a crochet journal. You can get track of all your crochet projects. It's all in English too. So you can write all the details about your crochet projects in the journal. So I think this is on her website too. So if you are interested, take a look. It's down in the show notes. Okay, that was it for today. Enough chatting about my knitting and crochet projects. Yeah, as I said, I will enjoy a lot of I'm confused. I wanted to say handwerktijd. In Dutch we call it handwerken. I will enjoy a lot of knitting time. I don't really have crochet projects on my needles right now, and I don't think I will add a project. There's enough happening on my needles. So I will enjoy a lot of knitting coming days. I really love these dark grey days. It's getting darker and darker. 21 of December is the shortest day, and then the days will get longer. It's a slow process, but I love the darkness, and I love the coziness in house, and I really love to just spend my knitting time at the couch and being together at the next to the fireplace, and yeah, we are having a good time. So I hope you will enjoy it too. I know it's not the favorite time of the year for a lot of people too, so if you are having a hard time, I hope your knitting or crochet projects will give you a little bit of comfort and distraction. Do I say it like that? I guess. Yeah, I hope you can create heart jumping moments anyway, because we need heart jumping moments in our life, especially when we are having a hard time. Yeah. Thank you for watching. I hope I will see you back next week. Bye bye. Oh, yeah. I know, I was forgetting something. I could feel it, but I didn't realize what. But I know it right now. I wanted to mention that I quit my Instagram account for a while. I will hibernate on Instagram this winter. My love for Instagram was always very big. I really love to share my photos and little reels from all the things I made. I only used it for my crafting adventures. And I really love to get all the inspiration from other people and to connect with other people. And I did that for a lot of years, but since this summer, I guess, I didn't feel the Instagram sparkle anymore. And my most important rule for doing what I do is only doing because I love it, not doing because you have the feeling that you must, but just because you love doing it. I love sharing, I love talking, but the sharing on Instagram, I didn't feel that anymore. So I couldn't quit Instagram because I needed to do it for the Knit to Purl to festival. But I was quiet on my own Instagram account for a while, and now I decided to just don't be active anymore. I did put my account on the private modus. I do check on my laptop every now and then. I removed the app from my phone. I do check on my laptop every now and then if I don't miss DMs. But yeah, it's really nice, and yeah, I don't know. I really hope there will be more space for my own creativity, and I will keep sharing my knitting and crochet projects on YouTube because I really love doing that. But just focusing on one kind of media is feeling better at the moment, and I don't know. It's my idea to do it in winter, but maybe, I don't know if the sparkle will be back in spring. We shall see, but there will not happen anything on Instagram, on the It's a Sarah Instagram for the coming months. So that was something I wanted to mention. Yeah, I have filmed some footage today, and also at the end of the footage there will be a little Knit to Purl to video. So if you love to watch that, then keep on watching, and I hope to see you next time.